Welcome back friends, this is Ram here and it's 18th tutorial on JavaFX 8. In this tutorial we are going to see a text field and database connection with an example of creating a new user. So let's start with this. I will use the previous example of login form and rename the text title with text field and database. So next I'm going to create a layout of VBox. So say VBox for fields equals to new VBox with a spacing of 5. Next I'm going to create one label field. So label, say label 1 equals to new label and say it as create new user semicolon. Next I will set the font of label. So label 1 dot set font and in that new font of type sans serif and font size say 20 semicolon. Next I am going to add some text field like we have created in the database. So this is our database and we are creating a new user with the ID, first name, last name, email, username and password. So we are going to add this text field in the application. So text field, say first ID equals to new text field, then I'm going to set the font. So ID dot set font dot sans serif comma font size. Then set prompt text for ID, so and say ID. Next I'm going to set maximum width of the field. So ID dot set max width and say it is like 300. Now I'm going to copy this and create 5 more text fields ID, first name, last name, email and username. So next I'm going to say first name, replace this with first name and say here first name, then replace ID with the last name. So and set prompt text as a last name, then next is email field, so replace ID with the email, then last one text field is username. So and we need one more field, that is password field. So password say pw is equal to new password field. So first also it's also password field, next I'm going to set the same for a password field, say replace this username with password, and so here is the email, next here is the username, then here a password. Now next I'm going to create a button so that will perform a save action, that will save these fields into the database. So button, say button equals to new button, and I will say it as a save. Next I'm going to set the font for a button, so button dot set font, say font dot font, and I'm going to set same sans serif with a font size of 20. Next I'm going to set this font size 15. Next I'm going to set an action method, so button dot set on action, and I'm going to use a lambda expression. So I'm going to save the information of these text fields into the database. So I'm going to write a try catch block. So before I will copy the try catch block from login field and make some changes. So I will clear these fields and I will now write a query for to insert data into database. So insert into user database table and the field which I have to insert are ID, comma, first name, comma, last name, then email, username and password. And with the values of question mark, comma, question mark, comma, question mark, comma. So these values must match with your database values. So like your ID, first name, last name, email, username and password. Then next, set the connection and I'm going to pass the values to database. So first is ID, then I will copy this next, set the index to, and next is first name, then last name, then email field, then username and password, and change the index values 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now next is I'm going to save this. Now our save set on action for save button is completed. So next I am going to add these fields to the layout VBox in the, so we have created a VBox. So we are going to add this text field and password field with a button and label in the VBox. So fields dot get children dot add all and save. First is the label to create new user, then next button, next text fields, so ID, first name, last name, email, username and password, and finally a button and semicolon. Next I'm going to add this VBox to the border pane. So we have created a border pane layout for the second scene. So we are going to add this elements which have added in VBox to the border pane. So layout dot set center and say fields. Next I'm going to save this and execute the program. So let's run this. Now we have created two users, so Ram and Tom. So I'm going to log in through that. So Ram and password is Ram. So here is the our VBox layout where we have added a label and text field and a button. So I'm going to add some padding in the margin in the left. So I'm going to close this and add a margin to the fields. So border pane dot set margin to fields, that is VBox, and set new insets with the value say 0 from the top, 0 from the right, 0 from the bottom and say 20 from the left. Next save this and run once again. So I'm going to set the initial password Ram and login. So here is our so we have created first initially a VBox to add these fields: label, ID, first name, last name, email, username and a password field. So with the some prompt text in the text field box. Then next we have added a button to save the data into the SQLite database. So first we have initialized a query and fire a query. Here is initialized the query, fired a query, then we have added the fields, and then so we have forget here to execute the query. So I'm going to close this and delete this. Before closing the connection, I'm going to execute the query. So pst execute, so it will execute the query before closing the connection. So next, run this again. I'm going to log in with the initial password and username Ram and Ram. So then we have, if any SQL exception, then we have set on label SQL error. So it will be showing if any SQL exception. Then we have added these fields to the VBox, and then we have set this VBox into the center of border pane and added some margin to the fields from the left. Now I'm going to create a new user, say user ID 3, username say John, for last name Don, then say email ID johndon@gmail.com, then say its username say John, and I'm going to set the password same John. So I'm going to save this. So save this. After saving this, you will see that after show all, here is the user we have added through our application. So next, we have created this user of name John with the ID, email field with username and its password. So after adding these fields are remain here. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to clear these fields after adding a user, and I'm going to show how to open a alert information dialog after saving to show that the user has created. So this is the 18th tutorial, and if you have any question about this tutorial, ask me in a comment section, or you can mail me on my email ID, that is alapureram@gmail.com. And finally, if you really like my work, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this video, and see you in the next tutorial.